Many women are confronted with the difficult decision if they should wait for labor to start spontaneously or if they should get medically induced. And so women often ask us, when I'm in labor, will it make a difference if it is medically induced rather than labor that starts naturally?
Right. So in this video, we are going to tell you what the difference is between a medically induced labor and labor that starts on its own. And then at the end of this video, we are also going to tell you if a naturally induced labor is the same as a medically induced labor.
Yes. Natalie here is a pregnancy and birth consultant and TCM therapist.
And Matthias is a researcher and science geek, and on this channel we help expecting mummies naturally and science-based.
Thanks so much for watching this. Let's get started. Okay, so first of all, yes, there is a difference between labor that has been medically induced and labor that started spontaneously on its own. And the main difference is that when you're being medically induced, your hormones are going to work in a different way than when your labor starts naturally. So what does this mean?
Well, when you go into labor spontaneously, it's among others because your body releases oxytocin. And that oxytocin is being absorbed by little receptors that sit on the uterus. And what these receptors do is, when they receive oxytocin, they will tell the uterus to start contracting.
Yes, of course, such receptors also already exist during your pregnancy, right? However, there are not enough of them to make labor start.
Yes, exactly. But then at the end of your pregnancy, the number of those uterine receptors considerably increases. And if then your body starts to release enough oxytocin, there will be enough of those receptors to pass that message on to the uterus. And again, that message is you can now start to contract.
Yes, and the effect of that message is obviously that the uterus gradually starts to contract. But it's normally not that you go from 0 to 100 miles per hour. First you are in pre-labor, then early labor starts, then active labor, and then transitional labor. And so the uterus gradually builds up those contractions in terms of intensity, the length and frequency, right? And so this gives the body the time to gradually adjust to more intense contractions.
Exactly. Now, a medically induced labor is different in that sense, right? Because it is normally done at a point in time when your body is not ready for labor. As a result, there are not many receptors on your uterus which could pass on that message to your uterus. And so a lot of synthetic oxytocin is required in order to bring on contractions.
Yes, that is a fundamentally different way of getting the baby out, right? Because both your baby and body are like, is it time already? So your body literally goes from 0 to 100 miles per hour.
Right.
So that is the main difference between a natural and an induced labor. And this main difference subsequently leads to other factors that make an induced labor different from a natural labor. So the next difference is the intensity of the contractions.
Yes, as already mentioned, if you go into labor spontaneously, your contractions gradually build up in terms of their intensity. And this gives the body the time to request assistance in order to cope with the pain.
Yes, so what's going to happen is that the pain receptors of your body are going to send a signal to the brain which contains a message. You know, something like, look buddy, this really hurts, I need some pain relief down here, right? As a result, your brain is going to release endorphins, which are the body's natural painkillers. And they are really strong, right? They are going to help you cope with the pain. And obviously, the stronger your contractions get, the more endorphins your body is going to release.
Exactly. When your labor is induced, on the other hand, the synthetic oxytocin does not cross the blood-brain barrier. And so your brain doesn't get the message to release endorphins. As a result, your body is less able to support you with the pain, which is why lots of women request an epidural when they are being medically induced. And this leads us to the next main difference between a natural and an induced labor. You will have fewer ways to deal with the pain naturally and to support your baby's descent.
Yes, so what we mean by that is that if you are being induced, it is recommended that you are being continuously monitored for reasons that we are going to tell you in just a minute, right? And by the way, it does not matter if you have an epidural or not. The fact that you are being medically induced itself means that you most likely require continuous fetal monitoring. And unless they use like a wireless fetal monitoring device, this means that your ability to move around will be restricted, right?
Yes, as a result, you have fewer tools at your disposal to deal with the pain and most importantly to support your baby's descent. Because if you're not restricted in your movements, you will naturally adopt a position that provides you with the most pain relief, right?
Yeah.
If you are restricted in your movements, you can no longer do that.
Yes, but it's not only that, you will also not be able to make use of certain tools for pain relief, such as hydrotherapy, which involves water, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, your birth partner will also have fewer ways to support you. So the question is, if you have so many disadvantages from being restricted in your movements, why do they still recommend monitoring the baby?
Well, this has to do with the next major difference between a natural and an induced labor. And that's the fact that in an induced labor, your body will produce longer and stronger contractions. Yeah. And this will have an effect on the baby. So as you can imagine, labor is a very stressful situation for the baby for many reasons.
Yeah.
But mostly because during a contraction, your baby receives less oxygen. Under normal circumstances though, that's not gonna be a problem because the body produces a hormone that protects the baby's brain from oxygen deprivation.
Yes, but if your contractions last longer, your baby's oxygen supply will also be reduced for a longer period of time, right? In addition, synthetic oxytocin interferes with the production of your own hormones, and so your baby will be less protected from oxygen deprivation. Yeah. And that's exactly why it is being recommended to monitor your baby.
Yes, they want to make sure that the baby is not showing any signs of distress, right? If there are signs of distress, they might have to help you get that baby out faster, for example, by using forceps.
Exactly. Now, a question that we often receive is, but what about natural induction? In other words, if I'm being induced naturally, for example, with the help of nipple stimulation or castor oil, will that qualify as an induced labor and thus come with the same disadvantages of an induced labor compared to a natural labor? Or would a naturally induced labor be the same as if you go into labor spontaneously on your own? And the answer is, it's the same, right?
Exactly. Because let's say you try to bring on contractions with the help of nipple stimulation. Well, what nipple stimulation does is it naturally increases the level of natural oxytocin in your body, right? And because of that, it will not be as if you go from 0 to 100 miles per hour. Your contractions will start slowly and then hopefully gradually build up if you continue stimulating your breasts.
Yes, but, and this is the key that women often miss, you cannot naturally induce labor if your body is not ready for it. Because remember, you're going to need those little receptors that we talked about and which will tell the uterus to start contracting.
Yeah.
And that's the very reason why naturally inducing labor often will not work if tried too early, like week 37 or so, right? It could work, don't get me wrong, but it is more likely to work at a later stage.
Yes, your body needs to be ready for it. And this is why we keep telling you to prepare your body for labor during these final weeks of your pregnancy. Because this can help you get faster to a point when your body is ready for labor. And when you do that, natural labor induction is more likely to work.
Yeah, so if you want to know how to prepare for labor and how to naturally induce labor, watch the video that hopefully pops up now. And if you want to know what are the 5 fastest ways to induce labor, watch the video that pops up now. You can also find these videos below this video.
Right. If you have found this video helpful, we would really appreciate it if you could leave us a like below this video.
Yes, and for more useful tips and tools on pregnancy-related topics, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell.